Welcome back, you guys. I'm Tassie, and this is my Shaman Memoirs channel. So this week, we're going to be talking about attachments and really just kind of what happens, especially with like getting rid of them. And then before we get started, I wanted to touch base on a topic that was actually brought up during my YouTube premiere, which was last week. YouTube premiere, pretty much the video, it is pre-recorded. However, it allows a chat to happen live. So then I can be in the chats with you guys and I can respond to you. So that happened last week. Thank you for everybody who attended. I had a great time. Just really being able to connect with you guys more because it's not ideal in my life to always schedule lives, right? I just really don't know a whole lot as far as like my schedule, because I tend to fill up all my weekends and I'm just trying to like, okay, I can't really commit to a committed time to always do a live, but we will touch base on that again one day if I decide, maybe I just need to commit to doing a live at a very specific time. But I hate the whole commitment thing because, I got issues. All right, back to my YouTube premiere comment. So the topic was approached to me about what do I mean by I'm crazy? Because a lot of times, you guys, I mentioned to you, I'm actually crazy. The person that you guys see and interact with, this is a controlled version of me. This is the me that I have been taught by my spirit guides since I was very, very young, because I wasn't supposed to tell anybody when I was very young to protect myself. But I'm a vessel, you guys. I am a vessel for spirits. That is, in a nutshell, what shamans are. We are a vessel where spirits can easily come in and out of us. We have that capability and still be in control. So my spirit guides, they actually have the capability to get me to physically do things, right? Because they are so heavily integrated into who I am. For example, they will often show me images, thoughts, feelings. They will tell me things. And sometimes it will seem like it was my own idea, but it wasn't. It wasn't, okay? Because I could tell now when my spirit guides are doing it. For example, they keep showing me certain foods because they want me to eat it, okay? But it will even feel like I actually ate it, you guys. But they will keep doing that to me until I actually eat it. And then I'm so happy. But like for us, we call that a craving, right? But I will continuously see it because that's what they want, all right? So then there are other things in my life where they can actually control me, you guys. They physically can. Now, I do have the capability to actually control it and stop it, though, if I wanted to. But it all depends on, am I aware I'm actually doing it? Now, you guys know the saying, your eyes are the windows to your soul. It truly, truly is, you guys. If you guys go back in my videos, and even in this video here, my eyes, if you look into them and you have the ability to see it, but it's actually different spirits that will come in and out. And especially when I'm asking about certain questions, they will come and answer me. And then sometimes they will answer back as well. So I see it all the time. My spirit guides, they choose all of my thumbnails, you guys. So I am always 3 spirits or more, including myself, you guys, at all times. But since I was a child, I was taught by them to hide it very well, because back then when I was younger, it was required that they wanted me to hide it because they knew that certain things would happen in my life the way they weren't supposed to happen, and it was meant to protect me as an individual. And essentially, it would have scared people. Like, it's pretty much different personalities in me at all times. And that's why when I'm under the influence, you guys, I let go of that control to ensure it's me who comes first. And so my spirit guides, they come out, and it's easy for them to come out. And that's when I just say things to people that I shouldn't be saying. So and that's why, you guys, oftentimes I will suck a demon's life, no problem, right? I will eat a ghost, no care in the world. I won't even have a second thought of it. And then I will sacrifice you to ensure I survive. It's because of the different spirits that come through me and when it is me, okay? When it is my spirit guides, they don't have the fear, but I have the fear. But what actually happens in the situations where I am in real life really afraid of an entity that I'm coming across, I have to mind control and let go and let my spirit guides come out. And then I'm okay. But until that switch happens, I'm scared. That so I need the switch to happen, but I need to be really quick at it, or else I myself am a scaredy cat. Okay, I am the one who lets Molly choose which side of the bed whenever we travel, whenever we go somewhere. I always let her choose which side of the bed because that girl will always choose the wrong side, and so I will be safe. And that's why I let her choose. I remember the last time we went and we traveled, Molly, we walked into the room and Molly's like, no, because Molly knows. She's like, she's going to pick the bed first, right? Or which side of the bed she's going to sleep on. So I was like, okay. And then she goes, and then I'm looking at the bed and she's looking at the bed and she's looking at me and she's looking at the bed. And then she picks her side and I was like, okay. And then she was like, wait a minute. Because she chose the wrong side, and I was like, no, 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 girl, you chose that side, you sleep on that side. And then that night, the spirit, the ghost boy in the hallway, he actually came out and he was talking to Molly, and Molly was answering to him because Molly talks to ghosts when she's asleep. I've seen her do it many times, you guys, but she will talk to ghosts and she will respond, but the boy was asking her what we were doing the next day. So back to my personalities. Pretty much, I always have my cunning with me, which is a man and a woman. And all shamans, we have leader guides who are always with us. They always lead us in the spirit world, right? Sometimes you have one, sometimes you have two. And then I have my higher self, all right? My higher self is the goddess. She is the goddess in the spirit world. I am a glimmer of who she is. I aspire to be like her. She is just so knowledgeable, strong, committed, brave, fierce. But yeah, whenever I'm like lost, I will call her down to me. But she is me. But she is the higher being version of me. But she is, it's like when I talk to her though, I feel like I'm a kid, you know, because she's just so nonchalant. And when she answers me, it's just like, boom, everything becomes clear. And I'm like, man, why couldn't I have just been that way and understood it? But it was really funny because there was a couple years back, a viewer actually wrote to me and she said to me, oh, the spirit world, she went into that spirit world and the heavens are really upset with me because I haven't raised my shrine, I'm not doing my duty, etc. And I was like, girl, you don't need to tell me, I hear it all the time. But when I talk to my higher being, the actual dragon goddess, she always tells me that I am exactly where I need to be and I am on the path that I am meant to be on. So pretty much my story there, you guys, if you are a shaman and you're struggling, right? One thing I would recommend, and don't do this often, okay? Because I do not want you to become reliant on it. Get drunk and talk to your spirit guides. Let them control you, okay? Because I've been doing this since I was a kid. So it was very easy for me when I raised my shrine and I accepted my calling. It was very easy for me to transition between all the spirits because I was doing it since I was a kid. I just didn't know why or what I was doing, right? And, you know, I would sit in a room and I would let all of these ghosts come into me. I swear. It's just, in the moment as a child, it wasn't scary. As a child, I would feel such a sense of relief because if I didn't do it, I felt like all this pressure and that something was wrong and that I had to do it. So then I would go to be alone and then the ghosts would come and we would sit in a circle and then they would take turns coming in and out of me and then I would talk in different languages. So I had to do it because then after I was done, I felt so good, you know, like I was a normal person again. So pretty much, again, I don't want you to become reliant on it, but I want you to understand the feeling. And when you are sober, practice that same feeling, right? Now, spirit guides, they hate alcohol, okay? Okay, let me come correct, all right? My spirit guides do not allow me to do any type of drugs or drink alcohol. I had to negotiate to have my cigarettes, and whenever I have alcohol, they hate it, okay? And I remember my brother, he once, when he was drunk, okay, he talked to his spirit guides and his spirit guides answered him and instantly he became sober. So, you know, there's that too. That could happen to you too. But that connection, that is what you need to know how to transition and allow the spirits to actually take you. That is where, you know, like when you're buzzed or when you're, okay, when you're totally wasted and drunk, probably you won't have much control. But when you are buzzed, that is that feeling of that looseness, and that is when the spirits can easily come over and take over. But that's the connection you need. All right, so this week we're going to talk about removing of attachments. This can be curses, ghosts, demons, even dragons, right? So a lot of people have been asking me just generally about like, oh, how would you get rid of this? Or can shamans take care of curses and stuff like that? Yes. All right, so shamans can get rid of, including curses, all of those things. However, the catch-all is the shaman has to be able to see it. So when you go to seek out shaman services to the actual shaman, don't tell them you're here because a dragon is attached to you. You have nightmares of a dragon coming to you all the time. Or don't tell them that you know your family's cursed or you know you're cursed. Okay, you don't tell them those things, right? You need to just come openly to the shaman and just say, hey, and then tell them a few symptoms, right? And then just ask if they can go into the spirit world, see what they see, right? So then the shaman will actually go into the spirit world, however they choose to enter the spirit world in their method. And whatever they see, pretty much a shaman will never be shown something they are not destined to take care of, or that they could be able to take care of, right? Like for a shaman who's not going to do full-on ceremonies, sometimes they will see it, but they know they are not going to be the one who can actually fix it, okay? So there is that too, you guys, because there are different types of shamans. But just to be clear, the shamans who can do full ceremonies and they shake with a bench and everything, they have to be able to see it, all right? Because you need to be able to see the cause, the cure, and can you actually go into the spirit world and touch it, okay? So that specific type of shaman has to be able to be the one who can see it, or else they can't cure something because you told them another shaman told them this. It doesn't matter if their guides won't take them there, their guides won't take them there. So if you guys recall back in my story about Michael, no one saw Michael. I had to always tell people about Michael because nobody could see him. Now, this actually resulted in my teacher becoming injured on the day I raised my shrine. And she is still injured to this day from the interaction with Michael. And I have only been hidden from Michael. Michael is still very much around. You really want to think about it that, you know, I was with Michael the demon for 10 years. And that caused, especially because I could interact with him, I could talk to him and see him, it built a very strong connection. It's not something that is going to be easy, especially if he is not easily defeated. So the reality of it is I can still see Michael in the spirit world, and he can't see me because I was hidden. But it's actually really sad when I do go see him. It's like he can sense me, but he can't see me, but he will whip around really quick and look directly where I was. And then my spirit guides pull me, right? Why do I even do this, right? Why do I go and see him? Honestly, it's like a PTSD for me where he was a part of me for so long, you guys. It's like I am well aware. I have no unrealistic expectation, no romanticized idea about Michael, right? I am very well aware that with him being with me, he is shortening my lifespan. And he was meant to be a test for me to overcome and for me to learn about demons through him because I wasn't getting a teacher. And then my spirit guides couldn't teach me through the spirit world. But he was with me for so long, you guys. It's a lot of times, and I don't go see him often, y'all. So don't think I'm just sitting there when it's raining and I'm thinking of Michael. Okay, that's not what happens. It's random, where randomly something will remind me, and then I would see him in the spirit world, and then I would pull away again. You know, so it's kind of like if you had a really good connection with your dog or like your spirit guides. It's a very homey kind of feeling. But, you know, Michael was just freaking crazy, okay? Like, so that's, it's not like, he was never crazy towards, okay, he was crazy as in, you know, he tried killing people that I knew in real life. But but he didn't do those things. Yeah, he did. Okay, so PTSD, you guys. I mean, in a nutshell, he was my teacher for 10 years. I trusted him completely until the end of our time together. But, you know, he taught me a lot of things that I know today on what I'm able to do and stuff like that when it comes to shamanism because of him, right? So, in a way, it feels like home. But it was broken because, you know, he was crazy. But that's just kind of like why it sometimes happens, pretty much. It's not a longing for him, okay, you guys. It is strictly a, sometimes something will remind me and it'll trigger it, and then I'll think of him. Maybe it's to make sure he's still there and not right next to me. So again, regardless if it's a family curse, a dragon came and took a spirit or a soul, or there's a ghost or a demonic entity following somebody, really, as long as the shaman who can actually perform the ceremony, if they can see it and they honestly believe they can take care of it, then it can happen. Now, family curses, okay, so this really, it can go back generations, right? And that's why we have the ceremony. In Hmong, we call it konza, and that actually means fixing of the grave, right? So we do have those type of ceremonies that some shamans are able to perform, but that is an extremely difficult shamanic ceremony to perform, all right? This takes years of practice. You have to have a lot of experience with the dark, dark side of the spirit world. You have to know how to get in and out. And this is talking about people on the brink of death. You're able to touch those worlds and lands. You are able to safely come back out because they are everywhere, you guys. It is like going to what we may easily recognize as hell, and there's demons everywhere. That is exactly what it is like, okay? You are Constantine, you are like, seriously, that's what it's like, you guys. And on the side note, you guys, this has happened several times, right? I will go to a place and I'll see a ghost, or I'll see a ghost following somebody, and I ask my spirit guides, oh, you know, like kind of like just like, oh, what's the ghost doing here? And it's a natural knee-jerk reaction, right? Where I'm like, oh, what's that thing doing here, you know? So my spirit guides, they always usually respond with, lo itsu yonder. And then they will sometimes say, oh, lo itsu monzong lo laka, you know? So basically, in English, when you translate that, it means they've always been there, or they've always had this ghost following them, right? But it didn't make sense to me about until like 20 times later. My spirit guides kept telling me, and every time they told me, I was confused. So they would try to make me feel it so that I could understand it, and it confused me more. So, and then when I kept pressuring them, they said, "Oh, we'll just eat the ghost," and I'm like, "Well, that doesn't help me." So that phrase that my spirit guides are saying, they're trying to tell me though that this individual or this place is weakly protected, and so. But you know, they like to use weird verbiages when they explain things sometimes, because then I would feel this weird feeling, and I'm like, but that doesn't line up with what they're saying. So it was hard for me to decipher, but that is what they were trying to tell me. And when a place is weakly protected, and when an individual is a weaker spirit, they are easy target for ghosts. That's why. So when it comes to curses, again, you guys, it's, in Hmong we have the konza ceremony, but it has to be because of that, right? There is something wrong with the actual cemetery, burial spot, grave of an ancestor in your family. That is the konza method, okay? Now, sometimes with curses, the shaman has to be able to see, well, what caused the curse, right? And what is the curse supposed to be about, right? Like, when this individual cursed you, what were the stipulations around the curse? What can we do to appease it so that we can lift it off of you to fix it, right? So sometimes that may involve things in the spirit world. Sometimes it may involve things on the outside world in real life here. It could be you bowing and apologizing for anything your ancestors, you, a child, somebody by blood related to you could have done. Okay. And then sometimes it may involve meals, and sometimes the shaman has to go into the spirit world and do or undo things pretty much. Now, when it comes to ghosts and demons, though, usually it really depends on how strong the entity is. You know, whenever you go and seek out a shaman for services, they are going to be able to see, is this something that they can take care of, especially if it's something pretty strong or the attachment is quite strong. Like it's a long time, like Michael and I. So all shamans, because of the different lineages, they will typically give you guys different options. So I will speak upon mine. Okay, so because I know that there are shamans out there who their lineage and what they are taught is they do not kill, destroy ghosts or demons, and their belief behind that is that they have every right to be here as well. So, you know, there's that. But then typically they also don't use animals in their ceremonies, right? My lineage doesn't have this luxury. Okay, so you know, like any student of mine, you will be a demon slayer type of shaman, or else I can't be your teacher because that is my lineage. My lineage, you don't get to pick and choose your lineage, you guys. Would I love to never have to, you know, like, tokai? Okay, I don't even do it, okay? A really brief rant here, you guys. Just so you know, I was the shaman, okay? Like, so when I go and ba people at ceremonies, um, I was not the person who cooked. I was not the person who cleaned chickens. If you asked me how to clean chicken, I wouldn't know how to tell you clean a chicken. My sisters, when we do hoopli, my sisters, the younger sisters, because they didn't know at the time, they were like, "Oh, Tassie, is this how we get the nails off of the chicken?" And I walked over there like, I knew. Just let me see and I'll tell you. No, I walked over there and I was like, you know, honestly, I can't tell you. Y'all, like, you know, I need to just do a skit of me at a ceremony and when the shaman is the guest and I'm just standing in the corner like, good job, you guys. Great job washing the veggies. You are frying that food correctly. It's because a girl don't know what to do at ceremony. Okay, I was the shaman, so I didn't, or I would go and tianeng, which I would wash the shaman and then do what they needed on the outside. I I never, you know, like I would get really jealous at ceremonies, like, cause then you know you would see everybody gossiping in the corner, and I'm like, I want to know the tea too. Like, come over here, like. But if I get up, all the elders are like, "Oh, where are you going?" You're like. I'm just going to the bathroom. And then I would stand in the bathroom like, come on, man. So I would try to sneak into the kitchen to try and like hang out and try to help people so I look like I belong with them. No, they would send me back out like, oh, the shaman needs you to wash them. You know, so it wasn't like... But then for other people who always help out at ceremonies, I'm pretty sure you guys are so tired. It's a lot of work, right? But I wanted to be you, okay? Like... All right, you guys, so back to the point of the story. Again, my lineage, we are demon slayers. That is the mandate from heaven for us. We have every right to kill and destroy. Okay, so my lineage is very different in that method where we choose not to let a ghost go. Like, my spirit guides, when I oneng and I ever choose, I come out and I choose not to kill a ghost. Like even the boy in my last video, the boy in my sister's apartment where he was out, my spirit guides were so irritated by him. They just cut my Godzilla sword a path between us. And he was like so afraid. But I was like, okay, y'all need to calm down here because like, you know, he's not doing anything. So the human side of me will often just let them be, right? Like when I see a dark entity in the corner, I'd be like, just make sure you don't come near me. But for me, I don't care, right? Like even like my boyfriend's house that I live in, he has family who passed away in this house, y'all. In this house, okay? And that is like a really scary thing for Hmong people. Yes, they passed away. Like when my grandma passed away, I wouldn't even go into that apartment. But I would see her by the door looking at me. Okay, so okay, I have the mentality, just don't touch me. If you touch me, I can't help what happens to you. But in general, because the sane person, okay, the me, okay, I will oftentimes just let them be. But a lot of times, ghosts and demons will hide from me like crazy because they think I'm going to kill them. But I don't. Like, I don't just randomly go out there and take care of the world, okay? Like, I'm not that person. I will just let them be, right? Even if they are on somebody, okay? I'm not going to eat them. But I know my spirit guides, they really like eating ghosts. But like, for me, it's just as long as they don't touch me, I'm okay, So, but in the spirit world, whenever I tell them not to kill something, they are literally like so scary looking and they are ready to do it. And then I'm like, wait. And then they'll be like, literally, like, they give me the side eye, like, what do you mean? And I'll tell them, like, well, and then I have to like try to negotiate with them, like, let's let it go, And they're like, and then they argue back with me. They're like, no, this is the way. We have every right here. Like, there's nothing wrong with what we're doing. We need to do this. Like, this is what we were taught to do. And I'm like, come correct. I'm mother. Okay. Like, I'm mother. You listen to me. Not no Megan Trainor fan here, but I'm just saying. They cannot do it unless I allow them to, okay? Because I am responsible for them, okay? So, but they give me side eyes like crazy, like, just do it. Like, it's so easy, but a lot of times I just don't do it, you guys. I don't care to do it. But when we have to, oh, trust me, I will. Because usually if you come across an entity in the spirit world as a shaman, they're coming right at you because they know this is what you're here for. Like, there is no, sometimes they do beg. Okay, I lie there. They do beg because I've had many situations where they do try to ask for negotiations and stuff. So it's really going to be, and then that's when I'll usually pause and I'll talk to my tuning and I'll ask them, like, should I? And then they'll say to me, they're lying. And then I'm like, sorry. It's a great time, you guys. And in my lineage, sometimes we do boning. Jesus Christ. In my lineage, we also do change people's names if we have to. If it is something easy that we can just switch your name, because usually there's a saying with it why we end up changing the person's name. It depends on the situation, but then we'll change it to strengthen the spirit. So we also do that. Now, sometimes people confuse Cheche, which is cleansing of the house, Kite, which is like a blessing typically, or a string of protection. And then they also sometimes confuse, well, sometimes people do like Kakong. And then sometimes when people do Hupli, right, when you're calling of the spirit. Kakong is black magic, by the way. So sometimes people confuse those things with taking care of ghosts and entities and stuff like that. That is a form of protection to start. Okay, that is not a guarantee. And it does also not take care of stronger entities, especially if they've already been there, right? For example, if you guys remember the skit we did about the ghost in the closet and it's just eating stuff, okay? So, no kind of Cheche is going to get rid of that guy, okay? You need a ceremony to get rid of that guy. But, and then the same thing with like, oh, please, it doesn't mean you can't lose your spirit. We are just calling your spirit. But if your spirit is trapped, okay, like, that requires a ceremony. Did Tassie just say trapped? Yes. People's actual spirits, not just their spirit guides, their spirit can be trapped. And my lineage would see that. So we would do that too. But typically, we don't do a lot of hiding when it's easier to just kill. But again, this will depend on the shaman. The shaman and their spirit guides will decide what is the best method, right? We would not typically put a spirit into a rock and use it in lieu of you. So some shamans will actually do that, right? Some of them will hide you with like your blood in a bowl of water under the bed. You know, like there's all sorts of different methods, you guys. But it all depends on what the shaman sees, what their spirit guides recommend. And then if you agree to perform that exact style or type, then that is what will happen. Now, let's talk about dragons. So, you know how I just told you guys we're demon slayers? We are not dragon slayers whatsoever, okay? Dragons, even those here in this plane of existence, are not demonic. Even if they are considered unclean compared to the dragons in the spirit world, they are not demonic. Usually what I would do if somebody did end up having some kind of implication like this, it would be a form of negotiation where we do not lose and we will take it back, which is the spirit. So usually, you know, I would make sure I give them something that they really want in exchange for the spirit, the soul, whatever happened, right? And the reason why we don't ever attempt to destroy the dragons, even if they are on this plane of existence, even if you guys think I'm biased, right? Being the goddess of dragons. Okay, come correct, you guys, because they have protections on them from the heavens. That's why we don't touch them, okay? We just don't. So they have the same rights a lot of times as gods do. So this is a type of sin I would never want to carry onto myself, because that is what will happen regardless of who you are if you destroy or kill a dragon. So the ones on this plane of existence, they are a glimmer of the ones in the heavens. They are that individual, right? They are the dragons, okay? But they're just considered unclean. And if you ever destroy a dragon, you have no choice but to accept the punishment from the heavens that will be passed down to you, and it will stay there depending on the situation. Sometimes if that dragon needs to be reborn, you will be punished in every lifetime until that dragon is reborn. So this is something where that's right, I'm talking about me and my spirit guides. We are very particular and we're very careful when we are talking to and working with another dragon, regardless if they are in the spirit world or here on this plane of existence. Now, if you're willing to accept the fate, or you have no choice, or it was done by accident, right? Because maybe the dragon attacked you first, you just have to accept the punishment that will come. Even I cannot remove this punishment from the heaven. This is something you will carry. And in case you're wondering, typically the form of punishment given is that it will impact your children. You will typically have to bury your children versus them burying you. And that is not a fate I would not survive that. Like, I couldn't. This is not a fate I could ever accept for myself. And the thing is with dragons, it's very tricky working with them, because you're gonna go in negotiating with them, and you better be good at negotiations. You better be so good at negotiations. And because they talk in riddles, and they're they know too much, you know, like they just know too much. I would always recommend you go in with another god, okay? Have a god come with you to negotiate with a dragon, okay? Don't just go alone unless you know and you're really good at negotiations. Your spirit guides are like, we got this, you know, we're gonna take you in there and this is what's gonna happen, right? Like, because dragons, they can tell who you are even if you're protected, okay? Because they can see auras and your blood lineage in the air. They can see your past, present, and future, okay? So they see things that a lot of other entities just, like, on a god level. It is very hard to negotiate with something when the two of you are both seeing it happening at the same time. So as they're talking, I can already tell where they're going and what I'm going to say and what's going to happen after that. And they are doing the exact same thing, okay? So you have to know how to negotiate with these kind of entities, right? And usually they will not attack somebody. If they have a good inkling, they will not win, okay? So if you're a shaman who's very strong, you're very good at demon killing, there is a good chance they will not attack you first. Sometimes they will purposely attack you. because they want the punishment from the heavens to come down on you. So, just be careful. If that ever happens to you, you better know how to heal a dragon, okay? I don't care what kind of cunning you need to crap down from the heavens. You are fixing this dragon today. So, there's that too. Just be very careful. But there is just so much that goes into it, so many intricacies that I can see that you need to be very calm and prepared when you go. But it is possible, okay? It is possible. Usually, okay, they won't let me tell you guys. A creative way to tell you in movies and books, what do dragons always want? Bring it with you. Connect the dots, you guys. So when I was a practicing shaman, usually when people came in, I can already see if there was a spirit that's with them that shouldn't actually be there. Now, if they're very strong, though, they are able to hide their presence. But as soon as I go into the spirit world, hello there. So for my lineage, typically, if I just am in a praying motion at my shrine and I am Hmong and I'm in the spirit world, right? Usually that's a lighter type of issue. If I ever pull out my rings, my shaman actual jennings, and I'm still standing, okay, it is a medium level type of possibly heavier type of thing. If I ever pull out my bench, I guarantee you it's a ceremony that would be required to take care of this. Now, I learned this through all of the times people would come in shining. Depending on what I did, it was a feeling that I knew I had to go and do something. And then that's how I knew that this lined up, that this is what always happens. Now, even though I am a demon slayer style type of shaman, I am still considered the new age, right? My teacher, even her being an elder, she is also considered a new age. So anybody born now and into tomorrow and forever, we will always be now considered the new age, because the old age shamans is a different lifetime, a different generation from us, you guys. Now, your style may be similar. Like, my style is similar to the old age, but my go and my abilities is what makes me a new age type of shaman. So the old age type of shamans, those are very different. Their styles are very different. They don't have the psychic abilities. They don't have any psychic abilities. And I'm considered new age because I can see and talk to spirits. That's why. And I can hear them. Okay. So but I'm not a psychic shaman where I could tell what you ate yesterday. I could tell, all sorts of stuff about you. I will get inklings and feelings and images and everything, but I sometimes have to look for it and then they'll tell me, right? It's going to be very different styles of shamanism. So I am still, again, considered new age, and I am the type that has the demon slaying and the Ting Shan Shou, or which are the Buddhists, basically. And they are more the psychic, but I was supposed to be more psychic, but my teacher didn't like it. So she wanted to ensure I was a demon slayer style. And like I mentioned earlier, we don't get to choose our lineage, right? So even if you honestly believed I was your teacher, if you come and you can't shake, you can't hu yarn goes, you can't kill demons or ghosts, I am not your teacher. And my teacher, even though she was an elder and she practiced in what was more known as the old school style, she was also still considered a Ningxia, which is the new age, because her spirit guides also spoke to her when she was not in the spirit world. And the last warning I want to give you guys before I go, if you ever as a shaman agree to do a certain type of ceremony and you have a nightmare where you are ever injured, you need to pull out of that ceremony. Okay, like, this is my best advice I can give you. You need to pull out of that ceremony because you will be injured the day of the ceremony, which can also implicate other things for you in the future that can stunt you, and it's just not good for you. So I would always recommend, if you ever have a bad dream before the actual ceremony, pull out. Now, I want to definitely say the old school way was they would ask a shaman if they can fix an oneng, and the shaman is willing to look at it, tell you what's wrong, but they tell you over and over they cannot do the ceremony, right? Y'all need to respect that, okay? Because, like in the Hmong culture, a lot of times they think you're being like polite and you need them to beg. So they will bow in front of your shrine and they will come and stalk you. And like, it's because I've had this happen to me, right? And a lot of it is, I'm not like, I really mean it when I tell you I can't do the ceremony for you, okay? Because I was very young at the time, you guys, and this was a whole clan that I was not familiar with. I didn't know anybody in that clan. So my teacher had advised me that I probably shouldn't go and do it just because of the politics when it was on the outside. And they were a Vang clan. Okay, I'm just gonna throw it out there, you Vangs. Okay, I'm just kidding. They were part of the Vang clan, but I was like 23 at the time, and the people who came to ask for services, they were like my parents' age, you know. And so my teacher advised me, because I can't speak Hmong well, she would recommend I don't do the ceremony just because of the politics, where everyone is going to start hearing about me. They're going to wonder who I am. And to protect me, she thought it was better if I didn't do the ceremony. So then I had to turn down doing the ceremony, even though I was able to temporarily fix their daughter, because I gave them the deal. Usually I will always offer you a deal. If there is something haunting you, or if you have a physical pain, I will go into the spirit world. I will do a pre-negotiation. And then afterwards, if you are healed in so many days, you need to have a ceremony done. But if I'm not the one who fixes it, you need to find someone else to fix it. And for the first time, this person, they felt better. So it was just one of those things where I felt really bad, but you know, I wasn't gonna go against my teacher. You're crazy. My teacher, she's seen the craziest things happen. So I was like, okay, teacher, I'll listen to you, because she's seen it all pretty much. So I was like, I know my teacher would want what's best for me and not get me into a bad political situation, because I knew this individual had gone to multiple shamans prior in their family. And guess who's showing up on ceremony day when a 23-year-old is going to do the ceremony when 2 other shamans have done it and the freaking child isn't fixed? You know, like, I didn't want to get involved, okay? So if I ever say no to a ceremony, I mean it. I will not change my mind. All right, you guys, until next time.